and we say hello. How we doing? Hey, Thorben. Yeah, it's Friday. It's FFF Day, and it's Factorio on a Friday. What a novel concept. Why are there logistics chests here? So I was just looking at this base, and I was like, why does this base exist the way it does? It's like random belts of iron plate there. And I actually noticed the. Why on earth did I actually do that? Just like linked the to make everything down to an extension down here. Whatever possessed me to do that? There's just like I knew the base was a mess, but I hadn't really looked at it in detail and just how much of a disaster it is. I mean, knowing past me, I was probably doing it semi on purpose, just to wind people up. But at the same time, I mean, wow, it's impressive. So there's a few things going on. First of which is I need to steal some beacons from down here. The reason being is you may have noticed this smelter down here. So in an effort to try and maintain the nuclear supply, which thankfully is actually good again, there's now a crappy train that's just slowly filling up. Very slowly filling up. And it just sends iron plate down here to keep this thing satisfied. I mean, this isn't an amazing amount of what you calls it, steel, not steel. Over here is steel. Over here is iron. It's iron production. It's not an amazing amount of iron production, and there certainly is a bit underwhelming compared to this smelter over here, which is now thankfully almost built. But it isn't. I mean, this thing isn't functioning yet, so I can't really make use of it. Also, I thought I told you to landfill. Why aren't you landfilling? I'm gonna hazard a guess. It's because the landfill was trashed and whisked away before it was able to be placed. I should also note, as a side note here, have 52,000 red packs of science here now, as over here continues to be deconstructed. It's rather slow going, but it is happening. You might also notice that this has been switched. It was doing a different research, it hadn't progressed, and one of the little side projects I did was actually empty all of the science trains and just empty them all into here and just let them sink all of the packs. The follow-up from that will probably be for me to pack this... Actually, no, use this one. Pack this whole thing down into a single lab assembly, like so. Yep, like that. And in fact, I can take that a step further and pack all of that down as well. And yeah, just concentrate all of the science packs down in here, just so I can try and, well, realistically, just try and get rid of the damn things. Speaking of, where is the... This should... Oh, okay. That's stuck over here, is it? Yes, yes it is. We have trains stuck over there. This is one of the next problems that needs to be dealt with that I really somewhat don't want to deal with. Oh, look who's running. You're running. Where are you going? Oh, you're going down there, okay. Another thing that's happened is that the decon's timed out, which is really annoying, up here where the science base is. So now there's cliffs inside my yellow science, which is kind of annoying, unfortunately. But we have spider team here, construction team, or rail construction team here, to hopefully deal with it. Hopefully. Where the hell did I put it? Oh, there. That's right, I pulled it out of the thingy. I don't know what that is. Where's the science? That looks like green, blue, military, purple, utility. So what I can do is reaffirm these, while also committing these cliffs to be blown away. And if I would be so lucky, those spiders would utilize the cliff explosives that they have inside them and blow these cliffs up instead of staring at the cliffs. Team, can we blow some cliffs up now, please, team? Please. You're supposed to have cliff explosives on you and a want to destroy things. Fine. Making me go up there and do it myself. Can you blow up those? Do you have bots? That's a bit of an issue. Don't have any bots. Okay, you're being recalled. Being recalled. Come back down here. It actually leads into the next thing that I need to do. So one spider that's actually hiding at the minute, right there, is great and all, but it could be more than one spider. So if I do that, and then that there, thankfully, that copies all of its trash requests. Unfortunately, it doesn't request deal with that. Hey, casual. Are we winning? Yeah, I suppose we are. What are we? 2, 4, 6. So what I'm going to do, instead of actually measuring it out, is I'm just going to click that and then dump that back in there. Probably dump that back in there as well. And a bunch of that. Real question is, are you winning the Friday? Are you conquering the Friday? That is the important question. I'm just going to shift click on that and hope for the best. I had high hopes, but they were probably a little bit too high. Hello there, Monsieur Takabear. I need 3 Kajigas and a bunch of you. I swear this track was just playing. Am I not going insane? Yeah, you want 2 leggies, like that. You want 1, 2, 3, 4. Was it 5, 6, 7, and 8? No, it was just 3 Robo Portorinis. So I don't need you, I don't need you, I don't need you. Technically I needed the portable fusion reactor, but realistically... there's my other armor. Never mind, I don't need a portable fusion reactor anymore, because well, I don't need all of them. So we go... Yeah, that's the combat kit. I haven't seen that in a while. Today was alright. Ready for bed with some Path of Exile in the morning. Ooh, nice. You're losing over 12 mails in and trying to get log files from customer. Yep. Yep. Now, what do I want to do? That's right. Pull 2 leggies out of you and put them away. Then grab another reactor and pop that in there. So I'm going to sacrifice speed for the ability to actually charge bots. I might also sacrifice bots for the ability to store more power. Not that it really helps in any significant capacity. It's actually tempting to carry a 3rd armor set specifically for... So like a low movement, maximum... like this one, minimum movement, maximum charging power, and then something with movement... Ooh, hiccups. But I can still use bots. I mean, I could just put bots in that one, that also works. Somebody wants the new fusion reactor? Yeah, very much so. Or even just the legendary quality Power Armor Mark II, just so you can have more grid. More grid is just so much better. Power Armor Mark III is low-key, it is an amazing mod. It's kind of funny, actually, in saying that. What mods do I have loaded? So, pace settings, yeah, that's for the ME. Auto deconstruct, I mean, it's just automating my... So, this was meant to be the vanilla playthrough. I mean, mainly Death Scream, that only changes a very simple little thing. Personal logistics is just for the stuff that I was doing with the spiders. It's just convenient there. Equipment fix, that's my cheaty mod that changes fusion reactors to be 2.5 megawatts. And yeah, and then so the reason I was thinking of it was I was like, I really want nuclear artillery. And I was like, no, you're not supposed to be doing that. And I was like, oh, I, yeah, oh, I really wanted to just. Then I realized that it just wasn't enough to deal with biters. What you really want is a nuke, but with like 10 times the radius. I think, what is it? Crastorio 2 has the. This actually came up in Cat stream yesterday. It was talking about a bigger boom than nuclear artillery, and I think the only bigger one was the antimatter. I think it was antimatter. I genuinely don't remember. It's been a little while since I've done K2. You'd think I'd know after doing that stupid Megabase that I never finished. I think it was the antimatter, but there was also the bug bomb, which basically nuked all biters. What was it? The bug bomb. The biter virus. It killed all biters that were basically on the explored explored map, which was hilarious. All right, so I was just sort of stalling for time. What I really wanted to do is inspect, not you, although I'm curious what you need. Yeah, you need circuits. I sort of need to get stuff up and running again. You probably need, you need one, which in turn needs red circuits. So basically everything that needs red circuits is starved of red circuits, which means really need to prioritize getting circuits rebuilt over there, which means prioritizing getting oil dealt with. The perennial pain in the ass that is oil. I was actually thinking, why don't I change the... yeah, it's just, for some reason, I can't headache out the layout. And I don't know why. And the best reason I can think of is that in the past, what I've always done is build dedicated production sites. And so what I mean by that is that as well as being an oil like being crude oil cracking, and refining and cracking, it would also do like plastic or this crap, whatever it's called. The thing that makes the rockets go up. That thing. That's what I'd normally do in the past, and that in turn means that normally I don't need to deal with the intermediate oil. So like having the light oil trains have to go round and then come back and be cracked into gas or what have you. Normally I don't do that in the past, whereas this time I actually have. Henceforth, why there is utter confusion. But anyway, I think the only thing for that is to potentially pull some of these out and move them elsewhere. But that's going to be another future me problem. I don't want to deal with it now. I suspect the real ultimate solution is to merge these two together. So you have like pick up plastic, split the difference here, put it there, and then put rocket fuel on top, and then bring these down a little bit. Although there's not a lot of space down here, but something like that. Something like that will probably work. But as I say, for now I'm filing those under future me problems. Now me problems, however, are... what do you do? Oh, you're that. We're all... Hello, Adbreak. As you were saying, it's been a long time since you played with actual binders. It probably won't for Space Age as well. I would give binders... maybe tone them down at the bare minimum. Just put them at some very... minimal setting. Hi, Pack. Hello. Managed to catch the stream early? Nice. Yeah, for a lot of people, it's a bit of an odd time. I need to deal with the VODs too. Now, I was hovering over here for some reason. I forgot what... Oh, right. So there should be trains over here. Yeah. I mean, there was trains over here. There isn't anymore. There. What about up here? You're a red circuit train. Got 22k, and you've got 23k. With JD today or tomorrow? Apparently tomorrow. Right, you go there. In fact, a better option is to say you go there. Yeah, that's all of them. And if you go there. Why are you coming here? Ah, you're trying to collect crap. And you can't. Oh yeah, because I was deconstructing stuff. That leads into the very next... What is all of this doing? What was I trying to do here? C less than 30. So that's going to pulse once every half second at 60 UPS. Once every 15 UPS. And then when C is equal to 1, then it's going to output a pulse. Then it goes into a memory that counts once every half second? Then I'm modulus of 10? Bit shift by 3? And divide by 10. What the hell? I'm genuinely confused by why does this exist? What is it trying to do? J-Rock, how you doing? You watch a lot of VODs? I've been a bit slack with the VODs lately. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh no, yeah. Battery! Time to learn more about factorial logic? Yeah, like why this exists. So this is, I mean, I understand it, it's modulus 10. Why am I bit shifting by 3? Remnant from a blueprint? I think I was trying to do some kind of timing system. Oh boy. Anyway, the reason we're here is this. So, it's fine and all. In fact, the train's actually, I think is it? Oh no, it's over at the smelter. It's going to come. It's on its second last step. It is, what is it? It's a right shift by 3. I just don't understand what it's, it'll be big. I just don't know what it was trying to do. So 64, yeah, 64 it goes to 8. Makes sense. I mean, it's bit shift by 3, so it should make sense. Less than 120. I must have been working on some kind of timing system. The bit shift divide by 8. That's the thing that I don't understand, because you could just divide by 8. I just don't know what I was trying to do when I did it. Alright, so today's job is to place that down and then... Oh, I need to change that. So this is one of my concoctions from a very long time ago now. For those who haven't seen it, for those who have seen it, you will be familiar with how much it never actually works. Does Factorio have floats? Not for combinator system, it's all integer. Factorio at least used to have floats for fluids. I don't know that it still does internally. So like, if I was to hover over this, it says steam 200 out of 200. Once upon a time, that would have been a float, and it used to see like 9 digits of floating points. Having said that though, it may still actually be a float, it's just trimmed off on the UI. I just don't remember. Oh, there you go, consumption 18.8. Yeah, there you go, it is a float. But the combinator system itself doesn't use floats, it's all integer. Ah, the train's here. There we go. So the big deal with this system is that it is a supply and trash train. That's how this thing works. So on the wire here, the red signal specifically is what a specific outpost, or it's an amalgamation of what every outpost wants. So in this case, there's one or more outposts are requesting 400, the total of 400 transport belt, 45 substations, 10 requester chests, and 10 roboports. And the T of 8 means that there are 8 active bases. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That number seems off. So T, each time there's a T, it means there's something that is calling for attention. So the T represents this light here. I forget which part to hover over to see the request. I did give it to myself though. I just don't remember what it is. So yeah, so this is one of the remote sites that can request stuff, and it can do two things. So you can give it a list of things to actively be brought in the supply section, handily named supply. This is something that the display would really help with. And then over this side is the trash side. So this one is inverted logic. So when it's on, you tell it what you do not trash, you do not want removed from the network. So this is a whitelist of so it'll try and remove everything from the network except for what's in this list. And this one over here tells it to actually run. So it won't throw anything away if this is off. I should also add that anything added to the supply list is automatically added to the trash exclude list. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So anytime something's needed that's in the request list, the train will bring it over. Anything that's in this logistics network that needs to be trashed, it will get thrown in the bin. And that's pretty much it. It's nominally something that kind of works. It mostly works. It's always had issues. I think I've finally got it into a state which is mostly functional. Because of the way it works, it has to, I think, this version of it, although the fact that it's using this one, this is a completely redesigned combinator system that I did it's a while ago, but not that long ago. Whereas, like over here, see, it's got a disabled train stop, which is something that's not really necessary anymore. Similar story over here. Should be an easy way. Yeah, oops, I pressed M and I didn't want to. So this base was made before train stop limits was a thing. So what we want to do is turn off train stop limit. Oh, it's summon the train. We want to set train limits, and we want to set that to fuel. which means... Hang on. Enable, disable. Enable condition when it equals 0. So yeah, the only downside to the disabling the stop means that it really confuses the train. So when you're 0... Oh, so I need another buffer, okay. I had a feeling it was not going to be that easy. Alright, so... Enough stalling aside, what I want to do is say, take this train here. This is something that I've sort of been avoiding doing, and I really need to do. And we need to paste a new copy of it, and we need to take the engines, and then whack them on the back. And then in 6 to 8 weeks later, we might actually get a noises maholic. That's what that noise is. How you doing, maholic? Yeah, 6 to 8 weeks later, we will have a bigger, what will eventually become a bigger trash train. How you doing, maholic? How is your Factorio going? Now you lots, why don't you have bots? Or rockets for that matter. That's rather interesting. Veldak! So it's a subscription, but it's a 6-month-long subscription, which means you're saving money. And it's for 62 months. Thank you very much for that. It was pleasant. How's yours? Looks logic here. It's very logic. I'm just rediscovering and trying to figure out why I did things the way that I did. Because currently I don't really understand. What do you got in you? Nothing. You're a blank vessel. Ready to be connected up. Ah! Bots are doing things. This is always good. I'm pretty sure there's only like 50 bots in here. Hang on. Oh, you're a broken network, that's why. Yeah, this one has 50 bots in it, so it's gonna take a while. I might have to intervene on that one. Alright, so we need a shift right click, so we need to do you, tell you to follow you. The spider's gonna give it a bit of a kick. And then we're gonna reclaim you. And so now we have a tag team of decon bots. So these are the trash trucks, spiders. This is Team Trash Truck. Unfortunately, you're a little bit light on the whole Roboport department, which means you're probably going to need to donate a Roboport for now. And you lots can probably go assist with the removal of the science base. Now you lots, slightly more annoying. Why do you only have one solar panel? What was past me doing? So many questions that remain unanswered. I mean, you probably could answer them if you looked at the VOD from however long it goes. It was like 2020 or 2021 or something when we did this. It was a while ago. Now, you need several important things. One of which is apparently rockets. Ah, that's why, because it doesn't already exist. So you need a request of bots, like so. Then I need to go find the rockets there, and add that here to like 600. I'll make it 400. Doesn't need that there. Oh, never mind. We'll make it 800. Even better, 800. Oop, I mean, 8,000 would be good, but it's not enough. What made you want to revisit this old base? I've always been a bit dissatisfied with how this base performs, and I've always wanted to bring it up to a functioning standard. And I actually kind of like, second to the original Megabase, I've always kind of liked this base. It had a lot of really interesting ideas in it. In particular was the mixed trains delivered. So these trains carried iron and copper for the circuits. Here we are. Yeah. So these trains are ratioed to deliver the exact right amount of iron and copper to the green circuits. Similarly, the red circuit trains have the right amount of plastic and copper to deliver to the red circuits. And also, I think they had the same iron and copper plate trains to make the green circuits then make the red circuits. This base had a lot of really oddball ideas. Did this one? Yeah, this one had the making acid on site, which I think I've done a few times for the green circuits. Green circuits doesn't, of course, because the things can't combine very easily. It was other things too, like the... oh no, you're just straight. Yep, this train mixes red and green circuits for the productivity modules. I mean, it was an easy ratio, so it wasn't too difficult to get it done. There was this crazy contraption, which I described last time. This does both military and purple at the same time. This produces purple and military intermediates at the same time, which is a bit of a headache to understand, to put it mildly. It also takes stone, smelts on site into brick, and then turns it into both wall and furnaces at the same time, as well as turning the what is it? The steel from the furnaces into ammo at the same time. I don't want to revisit it too much, but yeah, there's some real strange ideas going on here, which you don't normally see, and that's why I'm always drawn to this base. It does things that you don't normally see in a Factorio playthrough. This was sort of was this the vanilla base? Yeah, I was saying it was the vanilla base before, but I'm pretty sure I did. But it was always the Megabase 8K, but I think, yeah, there's the 1.0, which is the vanilla base. When did we do it? 1.0.0.0. Yeah. Whenever that was. Need to do that at some point too. Come back there. Maybe eventually you'll get to learn what the Manly Death Scream mod is. Fantastic. 11 out of 10 mod, by the way. I forget where all the different ideas came from. The mixed purple and military was something that I'd been hanging on to for a really long time, and I wanted to see how far I could push it, and that's how we ended up here, because I was experimenting with earlier versions of it that were pretty mild. Oh, hiccups again. Admittedly pretty mild in the 2 red belt Megabase. This one really took it to its extreme. Actually, I think there was something that did it in the rail bus base. Then Madzuri suggested I do the mixed train for the green circuits, and that took a lot of headaching to make that work, mind you. I don't remember how I did the oil though. This doesn't feel original. I'm gonna have to. You know what? Let's have a look. I'm curious. That's Factorio Extended. How did you get to be Factorio Extended? Something... Yeah, that's not supposed to happen. 2, 1... Yeah, that's when we're all building it. That's the... yeah, that's the penultimate stage of it. The trick with this save is as soon as you load it... As soon as it loads... Just got to step sideways a little bit. There's a train there. It's a very poor choice of where to start. So what did I do originally? Yeah. So originally I was doing, so this is what I was talking about. So see how oil comes in, it gets refined into its constituent components, it gets cracked, light oil gets cracked into gas, heavy oil gets cracked into light oil, and then all of that gets turned into sulfur, all in one step. That's how I generally like to do it. Similarly with plastic, again, all of the oils gets turned into petroleum gas, which gets turned into plastic. So coal comes in, plastic comes out. That's how I like to do it. And so instead of having, heavy oil to light oil and all this and all that, it turns it directly into what's needed. The only downside with this combination is there isn't really a nice way to do lubricant. But usually what I end up doing is adding like a little lubricant machine to each build, and collectively, they're all just stealing a little bit of heavy oil along the way, all the way down. I think all of them actually contribute a little bit of heavy oil. Okay, the acid doesn't. But collectively, it produces 30,000 lube a minute. And it's probably not even running at full speed, and then it just scoops it up. That's the only the only downside to doing it that way is that lubricant can be a bit of an afterthought and doesn't always work. Oh yeah, so these are 2 8 trains. I was doing some experimentation with single-headed trains and not happy with the results of that as well. So the builds are fine as big loopy loop roll-in, roll-outs. I've always never had a problem with, a giant oil refinery or a giant smelter being roll-on, roll-off. But outposts being roll-on, roll-off is definitely something you do not want. You need outposts to be terminating. You need trains to be able to come in and then reverse back out. 1, for simplicity, and 2, because if you have an outpost like there, inevitably what happens is a train is going to try and wriggle its way round there to do a turnaround, which has been the pretty much everlasting problem with Factorio trains, is a train doing a turnaround in the middle of a mining outpost. It's something you can't really avoid. And believe me, I've tried every combination to try and mitigate it, because there's no reason not to try. Okay. But yeah, it's I wouldn't do loopy outposts ever. We will be able to do turns in the air only with the jumping trains mod. It could do a pirouette or a barrel roll or something. Oh look, purple spiders over here too. So, oh yeah, and I need to move batteries. I don't like where batteries is. So, going back to the point at hand, I think I've got the answer for the oil base, and that is to go back to this design. I don't even know why I switched to dedicated trains. I think I was taking inspiration from Will's Megabases, and that's why I converted. Alright, so moving swiftly along, how are the bots, how are the, not the bots, the spiders looking? The decon spiders. They have a lot of stuff to move. This is a train system or a roller coaster? Ah, hello train. Oh yeah, so just coming back to this thing quickly, you'll notice that the filter inserters are selecting the item that it's unloading as it goes. And the reason is that if the train comes in with stuff that's already on there that it needs to take out, it stops it from... It stops 2 things. 1, it stops pulling out the thing that it already wants to pull in. And secondly, it does it this way so that it doesn't deadlock trying to remove something that it can't remove. So it's always able to unstuck itself. I remember that logic to do it was surprisingly fiendish to implement. Anyway, I need to have a look at... Oh, that's starter plastic. You are getting deconstructed. Even though... Oh, no. There we go. Might as well junk the trains and start over. I just got to make sure that I don't accidentally delete the ratioed wagons, because those were a combination of a lot of calculations and a little bit of trial and error to make them work right. Those were not trivial, shall we say. Alright, now that we've got these, we can load... Yes, we want auto trash. You're fine. You were fine. You were not fine. What were you? You were a train builder. I mean, realistically, we don't need all of these anymore. We have the logistics mod to deal with it instead. Ah, balls. I did the wrong one. Alright, so you go away. You go away. We come back up here. You... I also set that to... I didn't do it before, but I set it to 50 and 50. Equally, you can be 800. No more, no less. Because the ability to periodically deal with biters is a good thing. Do you... you know... There. Here we go. That's better. Should actually have a lot of... yeah, 2,000 logistics bots ready to go. At some point, this needs to be set up to bring the science packs back. Not that it really matters. Oh, we'll come back here. Alright, how are we looking down around here? So I thought So it turns out there's a tiny little bit of land that needs landfill. And I thought I gave this place landfill just before starting, but apparently it might have been trashed before it could actually send it out and be delivered, placed. Why are you limited? Because your wire's not connected, because you're not built properly. Because there's cliffs in the way. Yes, because the thing timed out. Because of course it did. Okay, so I'm not going to make the bots touch that. Oh, there's hold over there, so that's fine. Okay, so we can keep the deconstruction going. Keep team deconstruction doing their thing. Apparently these are all iron loads now. That seems like a bit of an issue. Like that. Apparently those are all... you're all going to iron plate. No? Not you. That's why. That's the ore train, not the plate train. So it'd be you... Yep. Oh no, it's SM load. Okay, never mind. supposed to have a wire too. Aren't you? No, that's not supposed to have a wire. It's just supposed to have a train stop limit. That's fine. You're not a train stop. You're not a train stop. You are. That's it. Good. Yeah, it's just meant to have a train come into it at all times and load up. You've apparently lost part of your belt. What else is missing? Something else was missing and I spotted it before. What was missing? Ah, that's what's missing. So, all these ones down here are missing half of their unload. Apparently you're not consistent either. Because apparently you're sitting on top of where the thing would be. It's no good. Get you all out the way. Unfortunately, that's going to kill radar. Radar access to all there. In theory, these outposts, or these remote sites are supposed to have a... Why are you complaining? Okay. That's a lot more annoying than I thought it was going to be. Okay then, fine. Just have your damn thingamajiggers. So 6 batteries and 6 batteries and 2, 4, 6 batteries. Well, you're not going to get 6. You can have 4. Alright, back to work. Start there. Actually, no, you can start there. You lot. Actually, do you actually have... Oh, there. You do not have bots. After all that, they don't have bots. Well, one of you had bots. Yep, now you have bots. Okay. Happy now. You can now go up here and please, for the love of God, blow up some cliffs. Make cliffs gone. It's not like I've been at this for an hour and not actually achieved anything of any significance. And now I've got to rescue those. Or find another train. That might work too, just finding another train. Just grab you, say. I think the first objective is really to get the copper smelter going, since it's the closest to being a functioning smelter again. Starter base seems almost done. When do you go Megabase? As soon as we get the starter base, the next phase of the starter base going, it's already positioned to produce. You know, it's positioned ready to receive twice as much as what it's initially prepared to consume. So all we need to do is more faster by doubling it once this next phase is up and running. For the more literal straight answer, I'm taking this base, widening it from 8 to 16 wagons, which it always should have been, and then keeping it at the same length, which means it more faster doubles, which even though it's actually a terrible idea and it shouldn't do it. for various reasons. Which means I'll probably end up cutting it in half again and then building a second one. Or something along those lines. I don't know yet. The thing about train bases is it's a lot easier to more faster double it by just building more train base. Which is kind of why I avoid them and stick with like the red belt base, which or the red belt of science base, which doesn't have red belts of science anymore. But there's a minor details for another day. Interesting. They all were like, yay, let's go do things. And then like, nah, never mind. We don't want to do things anymore. Where? Slackers. Because they're bots. Alright, another... I'm going to do it... Yeah, I might as well do it here. Actually, what I'll do is over here. Somewhere. So what I'm thinking, because there's so much copper ore just laying about, not really doing anything of any substance, we'll just build a nice long lane. Can't get any of those over there, but that's besides the point. Then we're going to want one of you right there. Trains and train fuel, and with a bit of luck, it needs to be even longer. With a bit of luck, they'll actually have some trainage available. So I've scooped up a few trains along the way. There's another loco. And yeah, what this will be is just a simple loader to load up the train with copper ore and send it into the smelter. Unfortunately, apparently I don't have any trains to actually throw at it. Also, oh no. That'll be fine. Say like 400. Just do, it's 4 requesters, 4 inserters, it's nothing too dramatic. I mean, it's not like there's 126, oh. Okay then. It's the second time this... How did I do that? I thought I copy and pasted. Did I paste it over itself or something? I genuinely don't know how... Shift right click, shift left click. How did I manage that? Shift right click, shift left click. There we go. Did I copy the I must have copied the one next to it or something. Now, next step, deconstruct you, deconstruct you. It's not like there's a few thousand copper plate there, so you're going to be out for a while. How are we looking up here? Cliffs are disposed of. Let's get rid of even more, just for good measure. There's water as well. It needs to be disposed of. I don't remember if I put landfill in you. I don't think I did. Important thing is cliffs are getting blown up. Oh yeah, that's right. I sent them down there. Oh, you can't deconstruct that. That would be bad. Well, actually, that's not going to deconstruct the wires anyway. The signals, that's for the wires. There. Those are all being... Oh, okay. So those are fine to get rid of. What are we wishing for? You want new alien? I think we're really due to find out more about the brain sac bug. Well, there's two specific biter things that I know of that we have been teased. First one is the brain bug, which potentially has been removed since we haven't heard anything. I mean, it could go either way, realistically. And the stomp, stomp, stomp from Erendol's narratives. We don't know what the deal is with the heavy-footed footsteps on Moldy Planet. So that's what we're at. But I suspect, since we need to learn more about fusion coolant, we'll probably learn about that this time. A new tree type not counting as an enemy? How could that possibly happen? Having a tree type that's not an enemy? Or is it a stomping tree? I suppose it wouldn't hurt to perhaps signal it a little bit. There's no easy way to fix that too. Well, there is an easy way to fix it. It's just an annoying way to fix it. I need a train stop. Yeah, it should be the only one it can actually go to. It's funny, the fuel train's being blocked by the train that has no fuel. Have I got maximum? No, I don't. Full speed. Yeah, I'm picking up manually. When I could be making bots do this. Should also note that these aren't long enough. Because it hasn't accounted for the back locos. I could turn my personal logistics off, but I'm too lazy. Alright, oh, you apparently inherited all that. You... This is when we fill up on copper plate. And I wouldn't need to do this if I actually thought about these things. And yet here we are. Alright, next item on the agenda. You do that. I put signals 1. It's equal to 0. So when you equal to 0, output 1 of L. Huh? Oh, I'm an idiot. I haven't connected the stupid thing yet. God's sake. Zach coming in to follow. Yeah, when it's 0 then output L of 1. Then we take a set train limit, take to U, take off U. They need to get out of here. And you, so because it's outpost delivery, I guess we'll call it. Yeah, because this thing predates train stop limits. It's broken. It's broken. That's all I can say about it. Alright, so to fix it, or to fix all the others, we junk that, and we replace that. Which probably won't work. So I'll have to go over there. Sadly, it occurs to me, as I sigh, realizing that it won't work. Okay, next item. Oh, I'm mostly done here. Do actually... we've sort of got supplies. I think the bots are a little preoccupied at the minute, though. As I was saying, our first item is to deal with this. Which means we're probably going to want the assistance of these spiders, the track building spiders. And we wanted to move this. So the reason I need them is I need to move the track. Probably there. It's the where I want to go. Across to there, across there, across there. Over to you. Over to you. Yeah, that'll do. And that'll be their job to slowly extend that track. So we want the ML segments. So what I'll do is just drag this blueprint down like so. Like that. There we go. Are these also meant to be... Yes, that's correct. That's their... That's right, this was also using that crazy-ass unloader. Alright, next item. Ooh, trees. I haven't dealt with trees nearly as much as I should be. And the fact that these exist here is a massive problem. They shouldn't exist here. Fortunately, this is also, in turn, going to clog up the trash slots, which are going to really be needed for other things. Namely, making these longer. So this thing's fine at all. It's just not long enough. Unfortunately, they can't go that way. Just cut the train's head off. It's actually no good. There. Otherwise, it won't connect if I go too far away. There we go. Okay. $15? Oh yeah. A mere 15 minutes to go. I just gotta go like right there. It's like that. Okay, so that's the outlet. What are these? These are the output ore trains. I'm just thinking about how to output them. Hello, Adbreak. How are you doing today? So, you could set them all down the one path. Or I could alternate them, but then one's got to cross the other and it's a big old mess. I think 4 lanes out, which leads into each of the potential output lanes, would be the way to go. Upgrade that to 4 lanes. I want to get rid of all this. All this. Spiders over there yet? Yes, yes they are. Just a side project. I was worried I'd mark the spiders for decon somehow, even though you can't do that. I don't know why I was thinking it was possible, but for a moment there I was like, did I decon those? No. Just an overloaded construction queue. As always. Hope if I could press the right button. Yeah, I don't think that's going to work too well. Now I've got to figure all this out. Which isn't long enough. Is it 1, 2, 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 25? Okay, so it is actually that long. Yucky day. Actually, that's not really going to fit there comfortably. Should really have something going on where I am right now. How are you looking? You're still doing what you do best. Like, I just need some decon there. Multitasking. We need lots of multitasking. Oh, thinking about Factorio in general, has anyone seen the Doshington video that came out recently? I just happened to notice it, and I was looking at all the other Factorio modes that apparently are dead now, which is actually really interesting to me because pretty much all those modes used to be a big deal at one point or another. Like the supply challenge, the team production challenge, wave defense. For those who weren't around, what was it? The team production challenge? There was like, at one point, there was multiple official Woob servers, dedicated servers running. Yeah, team production challenge was great. Wave defense, I think, for at least a little while, also had official servers. Like, all of those things were massive at one point or another. Transport Belt Madness is an interesting one. It seems like a lot of people don't know that was actually a backer reward originally. Because a lot of people were saying, "Oh, it wasn't in the game originally." It was, yeah. You had to download it. You only got that as a tier 2 or tier 3 backer. Otherwise, you didn't get it at all. What was his name? I remember the last name was Wong, but I don't remember their first name. I think it was Eric. Don't quote me on that. He was crazy at it though, at the team production challenge. Crazy good at it. What am I after that? I don't know if anyone even remembers them. I'm pretty sure it was something Wong. I keep thinking Eric, but I don't know for sure. I don't remember for sure. The problem is that this was like massive in 2016, Factorio. This was not long after 14 came out, when this was big. Is the one that found... Oh! I have very vague memories of that. The score being bugged. Those were right-hand drive. There was also the PvP. I don't remember if the original PvP scenario was the official scenario or a different one, or a modified one. I don't remember who made it. That one was also massive for 2018. It's just interesting how much things have changed over time. Like all these things that used to be big are now nothing. I mean, even the OARC maps was a big deal at one point. I mean, it was an interesting idea, giving people dedicated spawns that are like 4,000 tiles apart from each other. It's a bit more of an... it gives you more of a fighting chance as a PvE, PvP type. What would be the closest, like a Rust-like experience or similar? The Biter Challenges, that's the one. Yeah, there was the original PvP, and then the Biter Challenges came later because it became very apparent that direct PvP was too easy to exploit. And then there was the PvP, which was PvP plus production score. We did as well. So you could either PvP, wipe out your enemies, or win by sheer production. It sort of morphed into production, admittedly, because the PvP became boring. So 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So yeah, there was the see, I remember the PvP and the score challenge on the same map with Will and Clown Town. I remember doing those back then. I mean, naturally, there's going to be a pole in the way, because that's sort of what happens when you have this diagonal pole running in the middle of nowhere. Well, there's actually two of them. Yeah, it's good enough for now, though. Need to build myself like a little belt or some transport belt or something, just to move down. 3 minutes. Oh, baby. 3 minutes. Alright, let's cut the heads off some trains. Temporarily. And then replace them. Why does that look wrong? Because it is wrong. It's Ann West, dude. What's the laziest way I can deal with this? Probably by blueprinting you. Trains, including train fuel. Should help expunge the fuel, or the spare inventory slots, and in turn the fuel. Alright, so you... Where'd that go? I mean, we're not quite there yet. Trains and train fuel, please, and thank you. Pop that there. I mean, I'm going to have to pick it all up again, admittedly. In saying that, I think I may have just wasted a whole lot of time. Oh dear. Right, you, there, 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 and there. Five seconds. Refresh, 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 refresh. Optimizations 2.0 is a go. That's a lot of roboports. Seeding Boss Kid and Kavorax. Optimization 2.0. You know it's going to be serious when it's on Seed and Boss Kid at the same time. We all love building bigger and bigger, but hitting the UPS ceiling puts a real damper on the mood, as it always does. That's why we continue our endless quest to optimize the game. Roboports optimization. I've profiled many save files over the years working on Factorio and frequently see saves where logistics and construction bots are taking a lot of update time. There is nothing new. But along with robots come roboports in large numbers. Yes, roboports actually consume a lot of UPS. In the version 15 sim map, there was, what was it? It was a lot that went into roboports. It was like 12 UPS or something at least went into roboports. Like, it was a lot of UPS. And that base used... No, that was an all-bot base. Yeah, but it used small... You know, it used all of the bot optimizations of the time. But anyway, roboports have never been slow. Yeah, they're not slow, but it's one of those death by 1,000 cuts things. Thank you, Veldek, and by extension Westdude for pinning, so everyone can see. Yeah, it's a death by 1,000 cuts thing, as I understand it, with the roboports. So even more in the upcoming space age, but they were always present, and people are encouraged to build a lot of them. Even more in the upcoming space age, where you want to do a lot remotely. After the most recent playtesting session, the resulting save once again showed that they were taking some small but not non-zero amount of time, and it got me thinking about them again. It would be really nice if they didn't need to be an active and updated all the time. Most roboports don't have anything to do except consume power every so often relative to their lifetime. Yeah, they just consume power every so often, as they do. They will have some robots come along and need to charge them, / station them, but most don't really do anything except exist as an extension of the logistics network. So try it as an experiment. What if you just turn them off when you don't need any, then when they don't need to do anything special? If a robot comes along and wants to charge, or one of the other rare situations where they need to do things, just turn them back on until it's over. There were, of course, complexities to it, more complexities to it than just that, but the end result worked. From time spent on roboports in a recent playtesting save, the save file dropped from an average of 1 millisecond to 0.025. Damn, that's significant. I'm done. How you doing? Hi, Mr. Streamer. Where is the link for the awesome post so I can read it? Oh, how great it is. It's right there at the top of the chat. Thank you for your passive-aggressive sarcasm, Westdude. You are quite right in pointing out that I didn't give a link, and instead relying purely on both you and Veldek, as always. Just 5-heading it. Or smarmy. Yeah, all good options. So, radar logic optimization. Wait, that was... Who was talking? Oh, that was Arced again. I don't want to say R-seeding, it's R-setting. Or RS-edding. RSE-ding? RS-ding? Resting? Resting. There you go. Small things. Simple things amuse simple minds. But anyway, earlier this month, a minor feature card appeared on the to-do list. Small radar coverage area to Small radar coverage area to roboports. Normally that would be about 5 minutes of work to implement, but the card had a small stipulation attached. Doing it in a way where overlapping areas don't increase the performance cost. Up until this point, radars, the entity, and the radar, the feature, were built into other things like the player and were very simple. Every so often, iterate around and ask the map system to keep it revealed. This worked fine for the most part because you typically didn't have a lot of overlapping players or radars. Yeah, it's actually Robert Edding. That's where his name is literally just Edding. I normally don't draw attention. I've actually more or less always known that. I just don't normally draw attention to those sorts of things with usernames. Yeah, so we have this simple system with the overlapping radars, but now with the roboports, that means you're going to have a whole lot of overlapping radars. I can imagine by what these numbers mean. But now we want roboports as an entity. You do build in very tight clusters with a lot of overlap to do the same logic. Settled on a registration style system where anything that wants to reveal the area around the map simply registers the chunk as keep revealed. By increasing a counter for that chunk in the map system, as long as the counter is larger than 0, the chunk stays visible. Things can overlap as much as they want, and it simply increases the counters. So, that's what the counter means. So over here we have 47 entities that want to keep this chunk active. That's a lot of... Yeah, that would make sense for roboports. If a chunk has a counter greater than 1, it's put in the update bucket, and we loop through 1 bucket each tick. When the counter goes back to 0 for a chunk, it is removed from the bucket and stops getting updated. That's pretty. Looping through the bucket to keep the chunk charted at 50% speed. Purdy. Got our logistics robot superhighways going along here in a grid. For some reason, used to read... Yeah, for some reason we always read it that way, but it's never been seed. It's never been that. Even I do it, and I don't know why. And even after I realized it, because Clowntown kept saying said, and I couldn't understand why for a part. And then I looked at it again and was like, yeah, that's actually correct. And then people would still call him out, and I was like, no, it's actually correct. It's so weird how that works, isn't it? Like, it just... Even though it's completely wrong, you just get that particular phrasing in your mind. With this new system, it was able to replace the radar entity's logic and other entities' radar logic so they all use the same shared registrations. This had a surprising effect on radar entities. Take less update time combined with roboports providing radar coverage meant you don't need as many radars. On another play testing save, we had improved the overall game performance by 3.6%. Not bad, given that it wasn't meant to have any measurable impact. If anything, I expected adding radar coverage to roboports would make it worse. A 3.6... So, adding radar coverage to roboports increases the game performance by 3.6%. That's an outcome. That's an outcome right there. That is an outcome. So it was an excess, and in 2.0, roboports will have a small built-in radar range of 2 chunks. Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. Having a radar range. I suppose it's a nice addition. It does enter the question: why not train stops? Why don't they get a little bit of radar coverage? I suppose there's no the counter argument to that is there's no reason not to give them a bit of radar range. Oh, there's no reason to give them radar range, sorry, because you can interact with train stops from the map. It sounds like more like adding the overlap. Yeah, it was really the process of thinking about the problem created a more elegant solution than what was really in existence before. Which was always the case. In fact, if I even go here and bring up a radar, oh, it won't actually show me. But yeah, so like I haven't. Oh, never mind, because these are copy paste. They do have radars at every site, but I actually alternated one at every alternating one to minimize radar overlap, and that's actually something that I've done in every map. Is try and like there, and then this one doesn't, and then the next one will because it's no longer in coverage range, or even two potentially. Yeah, two would actually fit. But yeah, I would try and minimize radar overlap as much as possible in these builds. Specifically for that reason of the loss of performance of radars. You'd also lose a lot of game performance. Not a lot of game performance, but a non-zero amount of game performance having self-powered radar sites with, what is it? There's like 7 solar panels and 6 accumulators or something. And you'd make a little self-powered radar. Alright, so what have we got? Lamp always on. During our recent office LAN party where we were eating at the restaurant, shared the idea that given it possible to pick any RGB color for lamps, he wants to place an image using lamps. The only problem was in order to power the lamps, he would need to place substations every so often, making the image slightly ugly. At this point, I said, unless you build them on a space platform, knowing that the platform... Unless you build them on a space platform, knowing that on platforms you don't need electric poles. He seemed happy and excited when I remained calm, not knowing what would happen the next day. When the next day of playtesting arrived, he made a 100 wide by 150 high blueprint containing lamps that he'd placed on the space platform with an image converted into RGB colors for those lamps. There was, however, one significant issue to solve. On the space platform, it had always daytime, so the lamps do not turn on. The lamps had to be connected to the circuit network to enable them during the day. This was quickly noticed as the update time on our quickly growing save file went up too fast. It's just funny that. The update time suddenly goes up when you add a bajillion lamps. Yeah, lamps are actually very insidious UPS drains. Might also have seen more improvement with the wire over radar. Yeah, with the wires on the radar being a thing, makes radars more useful in that regard too. So you'd potentially spam a lot of them close together. Yeah, so we have the lamp, we have enable disable. Having 15,000 lamps with control behavior that needs to update every tick was not optimal, so I made lamps possible to be forced on even during the day, so just tick always on box. This made our save file update faster by about 1.2 milliseconds, which is quite a lot. 1.2 out of 16 milliseconds, or 16.667 if you want to be really pedantic. Just by skip having lamps to turn on in the circuit. However, by looking at the update time of the control behaviors after this change was made, I slightly worried why the control behavior update was still so high, said to identify it. Belt reader and multi-threading control behaviors. Control behavior update being still high was easy to explain. It was the feature that it made, the ability to read the contents of belts in sequence in 405. Can give advertised idea, no lamps on Earth's orbit, please. And that lamp stuff in a mod. There was, so I learned about the issues with lamps when so the precursor to my track blueprints had lamps Do I have lamps? No, but I have passive provider chests. They had lamps either side of the power pole like that. And so every power pole had 4 lamps attached to it. And that's cute and all, but then when you build a giant train network, you now have 100 bajillion lamps all strewn all over the map. And that's a bit of a problem. It's, in fact, more than a bit of a problem. And I remember painstakingly going through and removing them all, and it saved like 7 UPS or something. It was, again, not a small amount. There we go. All right. So, the belt reader is potentially causing issues. To reduce the amount of active control behaviors, as every belt piece had to be connected individually to read the content. The ability to read the content of all belts in sequence meant that there was a need for not only those belts to be connected with the wire with only one control behavior, need to be count all the items in the transport lines themselves. Do not need to be split into one tile-long pieces. Effectively adding a belt reader, it was possible to significantly reduce the update cost of the control behaviors. Oh, so the belt reader significantly reduced the update costs, while also gaining new abilities that were not possible before, like counting items that were on underground belts, which were normally missing. The problem with the belt reader is that it's so easy to use. During our playtesting, we used it quite a lot. Not only on the space platform, which it was intended use case, but also in other places. Basically using it literally everywhere then. I could say that Marusa was the primary saboteur of our playtesting. He was responsible for some of the belt reader usages that could be solved without them. I mean, if you can, then you definitely should when it comes to Factorio. I mean, I realize there should be limitations put on that, because just because you can sushi belt doesn't mean you should. But at the same time, like, just because you theoretically can, doesn't necessarily mean you should or that it's practical. But it is amazing, and that's where it counts. So I'm just periodically moving the spider as we're reading along. Belt reader under the hood is really... hang on. There were also active provider chests placed on Fungola that turned into a logistics robots hell with more than 10,000 logistic robots in the air at all times. I cannot punish him for playing the game, so it was time to optimize. It's like you need like the equivalent Rocky Balboa interlude, training montage interlude. His team optimizes a go, and then some kind of appropriate music plays and title screen. You like to be periodically moved. I mean, got to keep you employed. So it's optimizing time. Belt reader control behavior for me. However, for me to handle, belt reader under the hood is really simple. Every ticket sees what items are on the belt and how many of them are in each stack to be counted in total. Where's I yawn? Optimizing belt readers went through a couple of iterations. One of them was to try and keep the running total on transport lines, however it failed. Turning point was realizing a really simple fact. A belt reader is mostly a read operation. It just reads a lot of data from memory, content of belt stacks, to count items, in the end produces a single frame of signals to be sent to the circuit network. This structure meant that I should be able to do multi-threading on it. Yeah, see, you can just read the data and asynchronously do it. Or, I think that's the wrong terminology. That's why I give pause. Basically, you can, because it's reading, it's more agreeable with the pitfalls of multi-threading and multi-processing and sharing access to common data. Playtesters of belt sensors, pretty much. Multiple belt readers compute at the same time do not interfere with each other, as they only read the belt contents and their outputs are not used by other belt readers. Similarly, the structure was easy to see in other places like roboports reading logistics network content or arithmetic combinators. So it all just falls into place. With the exception of selector combinator, which could no longer use a global random generator, all of those were relatively easy to make multi-threaded. With those changes done, our playtesting save file could run about 9.5% faster. A synthetic save file filled with 77,000 combinators interconnected with 6K of circuit networks was used during development and running 14.9 times faster and keeping a consistent 100% CPU usage. A benchmark time went down from 131 seconds to about 8.2 seconds. Oh dear. A failed attempt at multi-threading the electric network. One of those things you keep hearing from everyone, make electric network update multi-threaded. I don't think you can. I mean, the title already says so, but that's one of those things where I was like, I'm not sure you can. The electric network update was already improved in 2009. That's a long way back. That is, wow, 2017. I love the diagram. Stone. Oh yeah, the stone stone path update. Yeah, in 16 they updated it. Includes a high res update of it. We'll certainly cover the terrain decal. Oh yeah, I think this was when they added the trim to it. Yeah, it's not it's a read operation. It's in a state when only read operations are happening, so you can do multiple reads at the same. You potentially have two reads at the two locations at the same time and not have them stomp all over each other. Well, I should clarify. You can't read two at the same time, but you can have two processors reading the same location. Not worry about putting mutexes or semaphores or whatever in, because no one's writing. You don't have to think about that sort of thing. However, it was still performed by one. Yeah, so the electric network is still performed by one thread, which is often observed to be the slowest one to finish. In many cases, save games just have one just huge network, so multi-threading won't make much benefit. However, in Space Age, there are many large networks with different planets, so their potential is greater. As for anything multi-threaded, the first thing to be done is identifying the moving parts and how they interact with each other as the headache progresses. And this is because the game needs to remain fully the game needs to remain fully deterministic, which is what the biggest killer to multi-threading is. Because if something slightly goes out of step, it just instant desyncs. At first glance, you would think it would be pretty simple. Each thread works on different electric network and it's done. However, this is not the case because there are one game mechanic that makes it slightly more complicated. The ability to have an entire entity powered by multiple electric networks. Yeah. Yeah. In this example, the oil refinery is crafting, but its energy is discharged and the electric network needs to charge back up again. Here we have two possible cases that can happen. Left, the electric network updates first, charging the oil refinery from the steam engine, and the boiler would burn the fuel, and the inserter would activate. Right, the electric network updates first, charging the oil refinery from the solar panels, in which case the boiler remains idle. Because of this, the networks are dependent on each other and must be updated in the same thread. Yep, that is a problem I don't think you can actually solve. I mean, I'm not pro-programmer, so I don't know 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's an unsolvable problem. Because there's a common dependency. Because there's a common dependency, the end result is that the two threads can collectively become slower than just having one do it in sequence. After finding all of the cases like this, like the power switch causing multiple networks to merge, I was able to find. It took me a few milliseconds then to realize what happens when you close a power switch. And then second to that is what happens if you pulse a power switch at 60 updates a second. That would just be a massive mess. I was able to define what should update should an update groups contain? If two electric networks had at least one entity powered by both networks, then those networks would share an update group, be updated by the same thread, and these things would not happen. It started doing some measurements, the results. And this was where the idea failed completely. You can see with our playtesting save file having at least 4 large electric networks completely independent since they're not on the same planets. However, the electric network update time remained the same while the CPU usage went significantly up. As it turns out, the electric network update does not really do much. Just reads 2 variables, does 1 or 2 additions, and goes to the next entity. It was memory throughput limited, and by having more threads, reading data from the memory simply cannot read faster. With multi-threading here, instead of one thread wait for memory, all of the threads doing the electric network must update waiting for memory. Having multiple isn't always faster because there's more waiting for each other. Yeah, as you say. To fully reject the idea, I had to use additional profiling tools like Intel's VTune. Which allowed you to give more numeric arguments that showed that the electric network is memory throughput limited. Our playtesting save file had the network update time improved from 0.5 to 0.39, while the CPU usage went up from 0.5 to 15. Overall, the save file was not running faster. It's a significant increase in CPU usage. Like, you're clobbering that CPU very hard for not a lot of, from 0.5 to 0.39. So that is, 0.11 improvement is really not that much. Smarter update of worker robots. I noticed a problem with the logistics robots in our office save. Someone removed a cable from an automated system, adding more robots to the network in Fungola. In a few hours, we ended up with an overpopulated logistics network with 10,000 robots having nowhere to go because all the robot ports were full. Yeah, so this is why I never automatically add robots to a network. I mean, I realize fully in saying this that I do actually have logic that adds robots to a network, but I don't blindly do it like it's part of a self-contained system. There's actually one here as well. So the thing that sort of ignites this thing to start working, this is also my supply and trash for mining outposts. It can pull bots out of a train. So all I need to do is build the starter components of this, and then the logistics bots do the rest. But I normally don't do just a bot adder for a base, because this always happens. You auto add robots to your network, including ME, if the ME controls the robot adding. Oh, yeah, okay. So if you have it in its own dedicated space, then yeah. The most common way I see it fail, if I was to elaborate on it further, is, and also just start copying and pasting things. Yeah, the most common way I see it fail is people set it to, let me give it furnish with a circuit connection. I'm going to need to connect it with a wire. What they do is we read robot logistics, and what we do is we ignore those two and we only read enable. And so when either of these, you can actually set these both to the same value as well. So when either of these are 0, or I suppose it'd have to be 1. Yeah, so when X is 0, add more logistic. When Y is 0, add more construction. And I've seen this so many times. And so, every time it goes to 0, it adds more bots, no matter what. And eventually, you end up in the same situation with 10 bajillion bots in a network. Also, Spider, you need to do some work again. Thank you. And come down there. Alright, back to the FFF. Since no one noticed the problem for hours, the first reaction was to add an alert for when the worker robots didn't have any space to station, similar to the alert for no storage. That would get annoying. I actually never really considered what would happen if you had homeless robots. I've never really encountered it. Yeah, if I only ever used total bots, if I've ever done anything like it. But the underlying problem is that robot update is too simplistic. All the robots are iterated every tick and their update logic is executed. However, the update logic is most of the time very, very simple things like continue moving towards target, wait in this queue and to start charging. It's not a new idea to fake the smooth movement of something while actually updating only once in a while. We use the chunk update planner. 161, that's a real old one. That's 2016. Infinite research. Oh yeah, there's the formula for the infinite research. Or specifically for robot speed. I was going to say that doesn't read like mining. Do you remember these graphics? Man, how do we ever tolerate these graphics? Chunk update planner, there it is. And this is leading into 15, isn't it? I've been playing City Skylines recently. Screw the nature around quite creatively as well. Yeah, this is leading into 15. It was Factorio and we didn't have better. That is true. And the smoke update trick. Oh, the smoke update trick. Wow, this is even before my time. There's the old train. Remember the brick train? At least you could see which way around that one pointed, because it's sort of points. It's got the, I think it was the arrow there. Is what I used to look at. The combat robots. Still very good. It just sort of disappeared into the background though. So it was a question of time until these techniques would be applied to worker robots. So taking these two concepts, how long does it take until we apply them? The problem with worker robots compared to just smoke is that they do a lot of different things and different types of job. Stationing, charging, but since it was motivated to find another way to optimize the game, I sat down and jumped right in. The main part of the challenge was the robots moving, as the logistics worked in a simple of, are we there yet? No. Move a little closer. Are we there yet? No. Are we there yet? Yes. Do next logic. But now we need to have more move intention stored in the robot and use that when we want to move somewhere. Once the move intention is known, the robot can enter limbo, and the rendering code can use this intention to pretend the robot is moving smoothly all of the time. This can be used to calculate the arrival time of the destination and know to schedule the next update. I mean, we can see what the demonstration is trying to achieve here. So I'm guessing the red is where it actually is, and the actual bot is where the renderer doing the thing every, what is it, 20 ticks? Red is the real robot and only updated once every 20 ticks. The ghost robot is predicted position used for rendering. There needs to be some limit, as the robot can be traveling for a long time. Maybe some distant robot travels to the center of our screen, but we wouldn't know about it. But so the physical position wouldn't be too far. You want to check edge of the screen for similar kinds, lamps, making light off screen. Yep. So we know there's some leeway because of that. Decided to find hard-coded magic numbers and maximum 20 ticks of movement. Just hard-code 20 ticks. Stationary robots without updates. These could probably be increased, but the practical performance gain would have been extremely diminishing returns at this point. In the office LAN party save, the overall save performance was increased by 15% and generally depends on the amount of robots, but with some heavy robot saves, your performance gain was 10 to 25. 25%! With those changes combined, we're getting into more comfortable territory when it comes to performance with bigger space age saves. But this would be nice to push it a little more and allow players to go more crazy. We have some ideas which could help a lot, so stay tuned. And we hope that these would be success stories and not failed postmortems. As always, let you know what you think. Oh, that's a mundane retort. Closing statement. Might also not see an increase. It all depends on the spitter code. We need to build a bigger bot mall to test it. Yeah. Whee! And that's the end of the FFF. Amazing. There you go. I didn't expect there to be more optimizations, but here we are. I mean, the Roboport one. I think the key thing to come out of that is that we're getting radar coverage with the Roboports. I want to open these up as well. Oh, that's a video. Can't really see what's going on in there. It's interesting that he's clearly created some kind of tool to turn an image into a bitmap of lamps. I'm kind of curious about that. Alright, so what do we got going on here? Those appear to be flat junctions. This is what caught my attention. There's no elevated rails. It's presumably early game, so it doesn't need it. The trains are far too short as well, in all honesty. That's the one thing I'd do differently. I would make them like 4 or 8 long. Whereas conversely, this one got like a whole almost trumpet interchange going on there. You got the 22-degree rails there too, and it looks like a turnaround there. Looks like the rails go up and over a loop-de-loop. Yeah, they tend to use 1 to 3 cargo wagons. Personally, it's not I like powers of 2 because it goes nicely with splitters, but you're certainly not bound to use that specifically. For a more practical, everyday playthrough, it would make sense to stick with something smaller. It's interesting, that junction there. I think we've seen that junction before, though, in practice. It's sort of one layer is above the other, if I remember rightly. Some very interesting, interestingly elegant junction designs to be had. Yeah, in general, the ins and outs, it's like one layer for in, one layer for out. Seems to be the way to go. It's very, it sort of leans into, it very much leans into doing that style of build. I mean, it's sort of the only way to really execute it. Having said that. Do powers of 2 mostly because of splitters and because programmer brain always likes powers of 2. Yeah, I can see a bit of both. I mean, for me, it was just purely because of the splitter thing. It was like 1 wagon per, or for me, it's 1 wagon per belt, and splitters like powers of 2. So you have 1, 2, 4, 8 lanes, which in turn means that you combine it with 1 number of wagons to number of belts, so it becomes 1, 2, 4, 8 wagons. You did 6 wagon recently? Nah, not good. We did used to do 363, admittedly. I forget which base it was 363. The one, I think it was Mad Science. No, it wasn't. Let's have a look. Can I even load that save? That's the real question. Can I load Mad Science? Do I even have it available? No, I don't. This is 242. Make barrels great again. It's not here, which means I can't load it. So pretty much all of the saves here. Yeah, except for a few. What save is that? In general, I move saves out of the save folder once they cannot be loaded directly in the game. So you only see saves here, also 439 megabytes. So the saves you only see here are generally ones that can be opened in the game. I say generally, not exclusively. Hell was combinators. That one. That was fun. Mad Science. Oh, I think it was 363. It may have been 4310.3 as well. I don't remember. Install old version and gradually upgrade them. I mean, I have done that, and I do have old versions available, like uh, that one. As I say, this one I keep updated. It's one of the few. Yeah. This one I keep updated. I even keep the mod updated as well, although I don't publish it, just because it's incredibly niche, this mod, because it needs to preserve the science recipes. For those who don't know, who haven't been around in the early days of Factorio, so this is a bit of a trip down memory lane. So this is from 2016 originally. So this map is simulating version 15 science in version 14. And before everything dies, or you... Oh, it's somewhere. I don't know where it is. Well, there's a few things going on in this map. So this map is simulating the version 15 infinite science. I love how we used to wall around tracks. I mean, we had to do something with our time. That was, yeah, we decorated the track because we had to do something. Yeah, 242s for this. This is where I first really widely deployed my rail blueprint as well. So yeah, this was meant to be 1,000 science a minute. Is it actually doing? Something that vaguely resembles it. Slow bots. There was no infinite robot upgrades. Only we had mining productivity. The way it worked in the mod for this was that it gave mining drills the maximum number of module slots. So they gained like 255 module slots, and each time you complete a research, it would insert a new placeholder productivity 2% productivity module. Oh yeah, the old oil base, the Madsuri oil. This thing's interesting. This was a really elegant design. This was a very nice design. It's like this fully self-contained module. The only thing was that you relied on bots to move barrels of oil around, which admittedly was a little questionable. Keep in mind that when this was built, this is long before belt optimization, so moving oil by barrels was vastly superior to moving oil in barrels on belts or having lots of oil pipes. So this thing is extremely minimal on oil pipes. I mean, it could be slightly more optimal. But I think it was sort of intended to cluster bots around this area, surrounded by roboports. Otherwise, you'd like rotate these and pull them a little closer. Yeah, even the water's barreled. So somewhere, somewhere there's a whole lot of water barrels. But it is questionable of its utility considering there's water right here. I think this predates landfill? No, it doesn't. Landfill came in 14. Yeah, it's interesting how small. Like this was considered a large base in its time, and it does not look big anymore. Also, old ME, the original ME, the old version. It's so cute. It's so basic and crappy by comparison, but it's all still there. It's all still there. I remember the You remember the whining? I mean, in fairness, it really did kind of kill. Holy crap! Phone just went mental. In fairness, it ooh, interesting. Um, yeah, it kind of killed the usefulness of barrels by reducing it. It didn't need to be reduced as much as it did. The only reason it was reduced is because they reduced the also copper duck. Mining a copper duck. Yeah, this was a copper patch, as it was. The wall drawn around it was the shape of the copper patch, and so it was decided that it looks like a copper duck. Um, yeah, reducing it down to 50 really ruined the utility of barrels and why you would do it. It's funny, I actually remember making a base which shipped crude oil around in barrels. Oh yeah, I remember that. I remember we once put a military science build inside of a duck once, on inside the duck once. Just sort of inserted trains into its brain. Yep, see, train stop copper duck. Always looked like, yeah, that's actually sort of what on the map it does look, it looks like a Snoopy with no legs or something. Hey, Silent Storm. Yeah, this is the home of Ducky. It's the true home of Ducky. Where was I going with all this crap? I don't remember. It's kind of a shame that my original slide left, slide right stuff was deleted. It did. The thing that I actually designed and put into here did actually help, and then it was like, nah, I would just do this other thing instead. But this thing really taxed the train pathfinder. It made a mess of it. Oh, that's right. This had the intermediate trains too. It had these plate trains that shunted in between the plate smelters and the steel smelters. Again, questionable utility. Notice how the fuel being distributed as coal, because that was the best fuel for... Well, it wasn't the best, but it was the easiest. Why do we do it? Oh yeah, we're talking about 363 trains, and I couldn't find a save that did it. No, it was Colonel Will wanted to use coal specifically. Because you could still use solid fuel or rocket fuel. That looks like something that I would do. Surprise, surprise, it is. I don't remember what the logic was, but it wasn't for any specific. I suppose technically it was for a specific gameplay reason. I think the idea was for like delivering coal as if it was a steam engine. Probably just to avoid using oil, yeah. Because he comes from a much older... He started playing in like version 9 or 10. And it wasn't until version 13 the oil wasn't a complete ball ache. Like, before version 13, you would get occasional oil patches. Like, this is 4 puddles. I mean, one isn't even connected, but that's besides the point. 4 puddles of oil in a cluster like that is considered a lot of oil by pre-version 13 standards. Like even this is a lot of oil. You would only get like 1 or 2 maybe in small clusters. And so the oil starvation was very real in 11 and 12. I mean, kind of reinforcing it is that there's not actually that many. Oh, I suppose there's 11 oil outposts if there's an oil 11. Having said that, just being completely wrong and all. Oh yeah, it's because barrel. It predates it predates the tanker wagon. Of course, I don't even think about this stuff anymore. Like yeah, there was no tanker wagon back then, so you had to do it like that. You had to bring in the thingies. And you had to bring the barrels. Yeah, that was how you used to do oil outposts. You take it for granted now. You take it for granted, but you would never know. Oh yeah, it can't, because so the one thing that wasn't accounted for in this was space science, I believe. Or was it? Oh no, it's there. It's there. Never mind. Make barrels great again? Very much so. Apparently you have... Someone's out of fuel. You are. Anyway, I was supposedly trying to finish. Or something along those lines. So I'm going to end here. On that note, we've got some great optimizations on the FFF, and I faffed about in a base. What more could you ask for?